Hello everyone and welcome to the just seminar. Let me just check this one of us unmuted. Okay, so people can come back here. That's great. So today Gangli is going to give a talk on VR motion sickness through the lens of brain science. Gangli is a researcher in the School of Psychology and Neuroscience, and he's also part of the VR Hero project. So he's working on integrating multimodal biosensing approaches with non-invasive brain stimulation techniques to understand the neuromechanisms of VR-induced motion sickness. So very much looking forward to your talk.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gang Li from the School of Psychology and Neuroscience. Now I'm going to introduce something about motion sickness, and I will going to introduce how to mitigate the motion sickness induced by virtual reality by EEG and brain stimulation techniques. And okay, so yeah, as more introduced, I am working on a ERC project called Hero. This project is led by Professor Steve Brewster in our GIST, and this project aims to reduce the VR motion sickness on the move to improve the passenger experience. Maybe you already heard about this project before. So today I'm going to start with a new background. So I think after today's introduction, you can understand actually the reduction of motion sickness can bring us much broader application fields. So the outline today is, first I will introduce why VR motion sickness is worth being studied, and then I will introduce two hypothetical models of the VR motion sickness, and then I will introduce the current state of the art of VR motion sickness mitigation techniques, and finally I will introduce brain science-based studies and my work. So the first one is why VR motion sickness is worth being studied. You know, recently in the Netflix, there's a documentary called Human Playground. If you watch this documentary, you can understand all humans of age deeply engaged in every experience we created. For example, music, dance, arts, sports, and games, and so on. So we have been creating many experiences to enrich our life, to improve our lives for thousands of years. If we intentionally design experience to learn new skills, to learn new knowledge, even to support our mental health, we can call this kind of experience is experiential education or experiential medicine. Now, I think today's digital, somebody say today is a digital world. Many people have the VR headset on our hands. So actually, we can design a digitalized experiential education or digitalized experiential medicine. But the problem is VR motion sickness. Even though this market is very profitable, but the problem is the VR motion sickness. One of the most intolerable symptoms is nausea. Many people quit from ongoing experiential medicine or experiential education. It's just because of the nausea. So what is the prevalence of this intolerable VR motion sickness? The estimates indicate that 30% of young people in the emerging VR experiential education are suffering from this VR motion sickness. And 50% old adults in the emerging VR-based medicine are suffering from this disease. So in order to develop interventions, we need to understand the models first. There are two mainstream hypothetical models of VR motion sickness. First one is First one is called sensory conflict model. In this model, researchers emphasize that it is the disagreement between our visual system and the vestibular system caused motion sickness or VR-induced motion sickness. And in this model, we can see there are 4 important elements. First one is sensory inputs. Second one is sensory organs. Third one is brain mechanism. The last one is the onset. It's something about autonomic nervous system. In the 4 elements, brain mechanism still remains unclear. We don't know what is the specific mechanism here. All the errors and the blocks here are hypothetical. But the other 3 parts, for example, sensory input, sensory organs, and the autonomic nervous system, these 3 parts are very clear, especially for the sensory organs. This part involve a big name called Robert Barani. He is the Nobel Prize winner in 1914. He won the Nobel Prize because his great fundamental work on the physiology and the pathology of the vestibular sensory organs. The second model is called the posture instability model. So in this model, researchers don't focus on the disagreement between visual system and vestibular system. They just emphasize you are suffering motion sickness just because you cannot control your gesture very well. But if you ask me what's the brain mechanism or sensory organs involved in this model, we don't know. So this is just a hypothetical model. Of course, there are other models. I think in the literature, there are totally 12 models about the VR motion sickness, but these 2, the posture instability model and the sensory conflict model are 2 mainstream models. Okay, next, after we understand the models, I can introduce the current state of art VR motion sickness mitigation techniques now. So we have 4 kinds of methods to mitigate VR motion sickness. The first one is sensory inputs. I think many computer scientists are working on this method. For example, we can reduce the field of view, FOV, to reduce the VR motion sickness. Also, we can design a matched visual and sensory, matched visual and the vestibular sensory inputs to reduce the VR motion sickness. Second one is called sensory organs-based solution. As you can see the picture here, this is a commercialized device. This device is using a vibrator to generate some noise behind our ear. And this noise can destroy the certainty and reliability of the vestibular sensory inputs. So by this way, our brain can rely more on visual system rather than vestibular system to make the final decision. So by this way, maybe the magnitude of the sensory conflict can be reduced. As you can see, there among the 4 methods, only this method has been commercialized. I think this is just because this method, as mentioned before, this method is based on the Robert Alani's great fundamental work. He is the Nobel Prize winner. For other 3 research areas, we are actively working on that. I don't know we have any commercialized products or solution there. Okay, the third is brain mechanism. This is my work. I'm trying to use the brain stimulation to inhibit the vestibular system to reduce motion sickness. The last one is more about psychotherapy, because the last one is about autonomic nervous system. This is the last step about their motion sickness. So in this research area, many therapists are working on that. Of course, the easiest way to reduce motion sickness is taking some medicine, but the medicine has some side effect. Okay, so I introduced the mitigation techniques. Now I will introduce what kind of mitigation indicators we can use to validate aforementioned full solution. The first one is the self-report of nausea score. This is the most important one because many people quit from ongoing VR application just because of the nausea. For others, for example, disorientation, raising heart rate, to some extent, some people can accept, can endure themselves in the VR applications. But for nausea, many people cannot endure this unpleasant feeling. Okay, now I will introduce the model-driven brain science studies. No matter it is the sensory conflict theory model or poster instability model, we have just two ways to reduce motion sickness from the perspective of brain science. One is to downplay vestibular system. The other one is to enhance vestibular system. From the title, you think this is totally contradictory. One is to downplay vestibular system, otherwise enhance vestibular system. Let me introduce why. Downplay is because, as I mentioned before, like the bone conductive vibration. If you downplay the vestibular system, our brain will rely more on the visual system, and finally, the brain will increase the weight W1 for visual system, and then the brain can make a very reliable decision based on the visual system only. Just like you have two friends help you to cross the street, friend A tell you turn left, but another friend tell you turn right. Your brain will be confused. But if you just only one friend, okay, turn right, that brain will all turn right. There's no any conflict theory. So this is solution one, to downplay the vestibular system. Enhance the vestibular system is because our vestibular system controls our balance, right? If you think the poster instability plays a key role in the VR motion sickness, then you should enhance the vestibular system, because enhance the vestibular system means we can have a better balance controllability. In that case, maybe can reduce your motion sickness. So because the two models are all hypothetical, and we don't know which one is we don't know which one is best, which one is the correct. Maybe both of them are wrong. Okay, next, let me introduce how to downplay or how to enhance the vestibular system. This will involve brain stimulation techniques, because the stimulation technique can be used to increase or inhibit the neural excitability. If you want to downplay a brain area, you can use, for example, the cathode electrode. If you want to increase one brain area, you can use the anode electrode. So in order to enhance the vestibular system, we can use the anode electrode at the CP6 in this position. This research was done in about 4 years ago by a Japanese researcher, and we in our group 2 years ago we tried to downplay vestibular system, use a cathode electrode on the P3 part, but you know the result is not good. Japanese research group and our research group, all of those cannot mitigate the nausea score. The Japanese researcher said they can increase the poster stability, but they cannot mitigate any sickness scores, including, for example, the nausea score and the ocular movement score. So because our result is not good, so I changed our research strategy. I think because the two models are hypothetical, we shouldn't rely on this hypothetical stuff. We should collect the real data and design some brain stimulation techniques based on the real data. Specifically, I identified the brain pattern first using the EEG signals, and then I designed and targeted brain stimulation parameters to counteract that pattern using the exactly opposite pattern. So this research strategy will involve two steps. First one is, yeah, as mentioned before, use EEG signals to identify the brain pattern of VR motor signals first. For example, we found that the functional connectivity between frontal cognitive domain and the left parietal lobe is decreasing with the increasing of motion sickness nausea score. This is the identified EEG-based brain pattern. And then by brain stimulation, we designed specific parameters to increase the connection, the functional connectivity between the two areas. I want to check whether this kind of specific designed parameters can reduce the nausea score. And finally, the result is very good. The result is, yes, we found significantly mitigated nausea score using this EEG guided brain stimulation parameters. For example, this bar is, as you can see in this project, we have three groups. One is the brain stimulation group. The other two groups, one is the bone conducted vibration group. That's the commercialized technology. We use it as an active control group. The last group is just a sham stimulation and brain stimulation group. As you can see, our brain stimulation group indeed reduced the nausea score if compared to other two control groups. Also, okay. Also, for the dropouts, we can see for our group, our brain stimulation group, the blue curve, we can see we only have one participant quit from this experiment, and the timing for this quit happened after 30 minutes. But for other two groups, you can see totally there are 8 participants quit from the ongoing experiment, and the timing for the quitting happened at after the 8th minute after this experiment started. So the three curves give me a reason to zoom out the first 8 minutes to see the time course of nausea level, because the first result is just the overall nausea course between the three groups, and then I will see what happened in the first 8 minutes for the three groups. And we can see, yeah, here is the time course of the nausea course. And we can see the blue curve is our brain stimulation group. We can see after the third minute, the nausea score started to decrease, and this decreasing trend can be maintained to the 8th minute. This is our brain stimulation group. But for the existing group, that is bone conductive vibration group, you can see the nausea score is, increased a little bit if compared to the baseline. And even though after the 3rd minute, it can show a kind of decreasing trend, but there's no significant statistically significant phenomena. For the control group, we can see, wow, there's no any mitigation effect. The nausea score increased significantly from baseline to the 3rd minute, and then from 3rd minute to the 8th minute, it continued to increase. So by the 3 curves, we can see that the brain stimulation group has a very good mitigated effect, and it is faster than the existing bone conductive vibration group, because we can see for after the 3rd minute, the blue curve found a significant difference between with the baseline. With the control group, the yellow line, but this didn't happen for the existing group for the yellow curve. Also, we checked the time course of cognitive performance. This is very important because VR motion sickness is a side effect of the VR. We are mitigating this side effect. We don't hope the brain stimulation can bring another side effect to our human being. So I want to check whether brain stimulation can decline our cognitive functions or not. You can see from the 3 curves, we didn't find any significant difference between the three groups. So it indicates that there's no significant cognitive differences between the three groups. We are very happy to see this. Also, we check the time course of cognitive load. Why we want to check the cognitive load is because if the 3 groups can show different cognitive load, that means the participants in the 3 groups had a different attention level, different cognitive processing procedure. This is not good, because the cognitive processing can mediate, can impact the VR motion sickness. For example, if you are really focused on something, maybe you will reduce your awareness of VR motion sickness. We don't hope the mitigated nausea score is just because different cognitive load or cognitive processing. So we checked this factor, and the results show that indeed there are no any significant difference between the cognitive loads in the 3 groups. So that means indeed the mitigated effect just because of the brain stimulation, not because, okay, my attention in this group is lower than another group or higher than another group. So for the conclusion, I have 4 points. The first point is VR motion sickness is an unpleasant side effect in emerging VR experiential medicine and education applications. So reducing VR motion sickness can directly benefit more young students in the VR education applications or older adults in the VR medicine applications. So the second point is, although the Nobel Prize winner Robert Balani unlocked the partial mystery of motion sickness, but related brain science today is very slow. Only few brain stimulation related studies can be found. So this is why I'm here today. So we after today's seminar, I hope many people can focus on the brain science, and then we can do some collaborative research, because this research is very important, but sometimes overlooked in current state of the art. So the third point is data-driven brain stimulation study show more encouraging results than hypothetical model-driven studies. I think this point is easy to understand, because our data-driven research strategy is based on real data set, real brain pattern. The model-driven studies just based on the theories and the hypothetical things. And the last point is very important, because the GISD is you are the computing scientist, you are reducing motion sickness as well by different ways. But compared to your methods, the advantage of a brain stimulation method is, first one, we are a human-centric solution. We don't need to redesign the existing VR contents. The second part is the brain stimulation is even faster than other human-centric methods, such as the commercialized bone conductive vibration. And the last slide, I will show the platform, the simulation platform. In this platform, we are using three things to simulate the VR use in a car. The first is the chair, the rotating chair. This chair is rotating from left to right, right to left, the side-to-side rotation. This can simulate the car's turns. And then we are using a EEG cap. You can see EEG cap. This EEG cap actually is a brain stimulation cap as well, because the EEG cap and the brain stimulation cap, the same thing, they are sharing the same cap. And for the software we are using, on the left side, this is the brain stimulation software. On the right side, you can see this is a VR-based tunnel travel game. Basically, this tunnel travel game will ask the participant to feel the virtual forward moving channel. So you can see this VR game can amplify the sensory conflict between our visual and the vestibular system, because your vestibular system is sensing something side to side, but your eyes are seeing something moving forward. So this disagreement between the two sensory organs can amplify your symptoms. But the good thing is, as I mentioned before, the brain stimulation can mitigate the nausea score. So yeah, that is all from my side today. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.
Basic question. Thanks for the presentation. So in terms of the sensory conflict theory, so I've spoken to people who are blind who are still experiencing motion sickness. Isn't that kind of, this is an example that says that theory is not correct? Or...
I can say sensory conflict model. If we see this model from the perspective of sensory organs, that's correct. That's the correct. As I mentioned, the only the theory is unconfirmed. I cannot say it is correct or wrong. For example, as mentioned, this theory includes 4 elements, right? But now the sensory impulse is clear, sensory organs clear, the autonomic nervous system clear. The only thing not very clear is about the brain mechanism. Yeah. So if you define sensory conflict model just to the sensory organs part, I can say this model is correct. This is why the bone conducted vibration technology can be commercialized, because the bone conducted vibration is just based on the sensory organs. Yeah. So from this research perspective, I can say sensory conflict model is correct because the technology has been commercialized. But from the perspective of brain size, it remains unclear. For example, yeah.
My question, saying the fact that blind people also experience motion sickness, how do you justify, how do you explain that in this model?
Blind people still feel motion sickness.
No.
Do you mean the motion sickness or VR motion sickness?
Is this just about VR? Or does it apply to motion sickness in general?
So this research is about the VR motion sickness.
Nobel Prize with regard to VR.
No, the Nobel Prize winner, of course, they are focusing on the vestibular sensory organs. They are, let me the Nobel Prize winner developed some fundamental work for sensory organs. In his research is nothing about motion sickness. Is nothing about motion sickness. But the motion sickness researchers used his fundamental work to propose this sensory conflict model to explain motion sickness or VR motion sickness. For you mentioned the blind people, I think the blind people, the one thing is fact is blind people indeed can suffer from motion sickness, but I'm not sure it can suffer from VR motion sickness, because motion sickness can be triggered only by vestibular stimuli.
That's what I'm saying. That kind
Yeah.
of theory of conflict between sense.
No, it doesn't can be triggered only by that because you need it's solely by but not with VR because that relies on
Yeah. For example, for the astronauts, how we train astronauts. Usually we will ask the astronauts or pilots sit on the rotating chair and use a face mask, block their eye, and then rotate the chair. They still can feel motion sickness, right? But that's the authentic motion sickness, not VR motion sickness. In VR motion sickness, VR is something about the immersive 3D display, right? You must involve something ask the participant to see. Yeah. So in conclusion, agreeing blind people can feel motion sickness because motion sickness can be only triggered by vestibular stimuli. But for VR motion sickness, you need visual inputs and the vestibular inputs as well. You need 2 inputs. But for motion sickness, you just need one kind of sensory inputs.
I have a question. So obviously the results of your work I think is positive, like it's the brain stimulation has this great performance gap. So if I understood correctly in your work, you use the cap, right? The cap to perform the stimulation. Is that correct?
Yes.
So obviously my main concern is there's a certain So the benefits are, as you said, you don't need to alter the system, you need to alter the VR experience. The VR experience can be the same, and you can do this outside thing to the human being to reduce the motion sickness. Currently, my physical experience with the EEG cap was it was somewhat impractical. There was some, so it's a solution, but it's a solution that has quite a lot of setup for the person. My question, I guess, is there any possible future research directions to pursue doing this brain stimulation, but in a slightly more feasible way for the average, or if I wanted to show my granddad a VR experience and have not been motion sick, the cap is probably a bit too far in terms of practical necessity.
Yes, this is a really good question. One thing I didn't mention is, yeah, of course, now I'm using the traditional EEG cap to do this study. But I know there's a company in South Korea, they already developed dry electrode-based brain stimulation techniques. Dry electrode means we don't need to use the gel or saline water to increase the conductivity between your scalp and the electrode. You just can have a very quick setup, because that's the dry electrodes. Just stick to your forehead or other parts. That will be done very quickly. So I know there's a Y-Brain. You can Google, just called Y-Brain, a South Korea company. They already developed a dry electrode-based brain stimulation technology. So in the future, maybe we can try that electrode. That will be very convenient for the participant.
Yeah, you can see it, how well the solution works when you use it more convenient, or probably less good, but maybe does it work well enough to still be better than the unconducted.
Yeah. Another thing I didn't mention is actually the brain stimulation. Even though the research results are good, but it has some unpleasant feeling as well. For example, if your scalp is very sensitive to the current, maybe you will feel tingling. You will feel a little bit inching. In my experiment, some people reported this unpleasant feeling, but not everyone. But I don't know what is the prevalence of these unpleasant feelings. We need to do further research. If the prevalence is very high, I don't think that's a real world solution. But if the prevalence is less than 50%, I think that's okay, because at least we can help another 50% to enjoy the VR education or VR medicine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay.
How do you see this work being commercialized?
This
So in general, you mentioned the bone one is really good because it's being commercialized.
Yeah.
Where do you see the next step of this research to go?
I think, as Sean mentioned, the next step, I think, is to understand what's the prevalence for the current induced unpleasant feeling. This is the first step. The second step is to develop a with the engineering school to solve the two problems now. Yeah.
Okay, great talk. My question is, do you think there's going to be a solution that works for everyone? Do you think you can come up with the best interface for every single person? Or do you think it'll be more like where you have to report to the data for everyone and come up with the solution?
Yeah, actually, this is a really important question. I think in this case we should use AI. The AI is not I mean the AI is not I mean the AI must be based on the big data. For example, we should do large scale and use AI to develop some specific models. For example, this model is for this kind of person, this model is for another kind of person. And then we can integrate this AI model to our brain stimulation headset or algorithm to enable, as mentioned, the individualized and closed loop algorithm. So, I mean, we should do large scale experiment first. I don't recommend to use AI just for a small scale experiment. For example, many people say you can use VR, you can use AR now. For example, you use not AR, AI. You can use AI now to decode your brain patterns and then to enable your brain stimulation protocol. But I don't think this kind of AI is good enough to decode our brain pattern. Yeah, we can use AI later based on the large scale data.
Do you think our data is, or I guess, do you think we would have to collect a data set that uses that same stimuli and same setup to do this? Or do you think you could use data sets from a bunch of different people and then just try and see in that situation if it's got motion sickness and that way not so much? So it's not as dependent on virtual content, I guess, and more.
Yeah.
I have another question. Sorry.
Yeah.
But this is because I guess one of the theories is that we can get used to motion sickness in VR. So the more we use VR, the less motion sickness we get.
Yep.
Do you think that if we introduce something like visual stimulation, that is going to hinder people from building up these habituation effects or adaptation effects, or do you think it's going to facilitate them? And
Yeah, this is a very good question. You know, yesterday I just read a textbook. The textbook title is called Vestibular Rehabilitation for Pilots. Do you know in the aviation school or in the Air Force, how do they train the pilots? As you mentioned, many years ago, they just train the pilots by repeating the same training paradigm again. But now they are training the pilots by this method and medicine. I will ask you to take some medicine first and then treat yourself. They found the medicine can accelerate the training procedure, can shorten the time. So they are taking, we don't hope for our ordinary people, we are necessary to take the medicine. But as you mentioned, if we view the brain stimulation as a digital medicine, maybe we can do that. Yeah, for example, we can do the brain stimulation for the ordinary people first, and then ask them to attend our adaptive training or something. Or not before. We can also do the brain stimulation during the adaptive training. I think we can accelerate the procedure because the aviation school is already doing something similar to this idea. Only difference is they are using the real medicine. We are using the digital medicine brain stimulation. So I think brain stimulation can accelerate the procedure.
so ideally, we would stimulate our brains for like the first 6 months using VR, and then we don't need it anymore because we're used to everything and understand.
Maybe, yeah, Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we can.
Sounds like a longitudinal study to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, need to research.
I have a question regarding potential misuse of this. So if I understand correctly, for anything like you're basically taking an interest in canceling the cell.
Yep. Yep.
The opposite, to induce cell sickness in someone that is not ill. So that people live on inside.
For in theory, I think we can do that. Actually, I am running a project in the ARC now. We have 3 groups. The first group, the study design is a little different from this picture. In this picture, we have the real stimulation, sham stimulation, and commercialized technology, right? In the ARC Center, we are doing real stimulation, commercialized technology, and the last group is something you mentioned. We will try to make you sick. Yeah, make you sick. Only by this way we can have a very reliable result. Like, okay, this is the causal links. This is the causal links between brain stimulation and the brain pattern. Because if you can reduce this pattern, in theory, you can increase this pattern as well. Yeah, if we can really do that, okay, this is a very reliable brain pattern. Yeah, we are doing that. This is, yeah, very perfect trust. Yeah. Yeah.
You have a question in the chat. So
Oh, okay. Wow, very long. Oh, Mark. Wow.
Hi, gang. I can read it out. If you want.
Hi, Mark.
So I was just going to ask, what other use cases, what other environments might you look toward applying neurostimulation in the future? So, you know, you've covered the rotating chair. You know, would you apply it to multi-axis motion simulators for pilots and racing drivers and things like that? Are there any other wild scenarios you would apply this in? Could we see astronauts in the future using neurostimulation to deal with zero gravity? You know, if you had some unlimited budget, what would you be doing next with neurostimulation?
Virtual gravity. Indeed, now we our application field is something about virtual medicine, virtual education, and passenger experience. Next step, as you mentioned, maybe we can recruit some professionals in the aviation school or Air Force. I think the next step, maybe we can do the neurostimulation study for specific professionals who really need to reduce the visual motion sickness, I think.
Okay, so more extreme training, basically.
Sorry, more what training?
More extreme training.
Oh, extreme trainings.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
like yeah, maybe we can, yeah. Now we are using the forward moving tunnel. Next step, we can use a space station, something like the space station to train the gravity based stimuli. Yeah, I think next step we can change the paradigm from the forward moving to more extreme paradigm. For example, as mentioned, gravity or off-axis rotation. I think that kind of training platform will be more useful for some professional users. Or for ordinary people, maybe we can challenge ourselves. But the precondition is we we are willing we are willing to do that, or we have some specific requirement to do that. Yes, that's my answer, Mark.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, any questions from the online audience? It seems no. Okay, I think it's no more questions from the all online audience. Do we have some on-site questions? No. I think it's finished. Thank you for letting me. Thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to.